offerings.
What many of you may not know is that my pre-ministry life includes working in the field of epidemiology. While much of that professional career was spent in the specific field of medical drug, device, and biologic development, my actual education and university teaching experience is in the field of social epidemiology and health informatics. Since the pandemic, I've been really struggling to keep these two facets of my mind separate. I kept thinking that there's this minister part of me, and then there's this scientist, epidemiologist part of me, and really neither of the two shall ever meet. This type of disintegration doesn't really do much, it turns out, to really kind of honor my past experiences as an epidemiologist, nor honor my current calling as a minister. So, Reverend Leslie and a friend of mine really encouraged me to spend some time this week trying to find ways of better integrating these seemingly disparate fields of study. That's when I saw the data. The CDC is tracking the COVID-19 deaths and the associated socio-demographic data of all of the lives that we've lost. When reviewing the death data collected from 38 states and the DC metro area, analysts at the APM Research Lab found that for every 100,000 Americans, roughly 35 Black Americans die from COVID-19, compared to only 13 white Americans. Traditional epidemiology can't really yet explain this difference, but the field of social epidemiology can, and I've realized this week that that field has some important spiritual insights for us. You see, it isn't about being at risk for COVID-19 death, but rather the risk factor of being Black. What I mean by this is that Blackness in America comes with a host of disparities that have been in place since the first African was led off the ship in 1619. It is the risk factor of having a lifetime of wealth-building opportunities like home ownership through the GI Bill stripped from your ancestors' hands, resulting in generational poverty, and thus your taking of a job that requires you to work outside of the home in the middle of a global pandemic. Black Americans do this 1.5 times more frequently than white Americans. It is the risk factor of the legacy of slavery in the creation of the prison industrial complex through the 13th Amendment, followed by the overpopulation of our prisons and jails during the war on drugs, resulting in disproportional representation of Black bodies in our facilities. Facilities that are much more likely to become infected with coronavirus. You see, I realized this week that those social epidemiological facts aren't so disconnected from my ministry. After all, we as Unitarian Universalists profess in our seventh principle that we're all interconnected in ways that we can't begin to understand. The application of science through our faith-based understanding can be a way to integrate these different fields of knowing. One aspect of social epidemiology that provides me a true sense of spiritual hope is that so many of the risk factors that we identify in that field of study are risks that we, with our own intentions and human actions, have created ourselves. And since we've created them, we can dismantle them too. Black Americans do not need to die from COVID at any higher rate than anyone else. Instead, we could take this opportunity to create interventions and equalize the healthcare playing field altogether. What if our new America provided healthcare to everyone equally? This is what I mean when I profess the desire to create the beloved community. I want us to lean into this very difficult moment. I want us to lean in so hard that we really can imagine ways of tearing down the current socio-demographic walls that have really been built over these past many hundreds of years, and replace it with something where socio-demographic, like race, aren't a determinant of health. May we be the ones to make it so.